Absolutely. So now, as we challenge and stuff, I definitely want to answer the question, which is, can we have positive idols of people that we can look up to? Absolutely. So the impact on morality and ethics. It says research from Brigham Young University found that when children and adolescents identify parents or caretakers as role models, they exhibit higher moral reasoning than those that don't. The second one, he kind of briefly talked about the negative side of those who don't have positive psychological outcomes. And research has published in the Journal of Adolescent Health found that adolescents with role models experience higher levels of self-esteem and stronger identity development compared to those without role models. These individuals also reported fewer symptoms of depression. Now, I talked about earlier having friends that didn't have, not saying they didn't positive role models, because that could still help too, but like father figures. But
Mhm.
also he brought up, which I didn't plan on him talking about, like the school shooters. Not one school shooter has high self-esteem. Now, one school shooter thinks positively of themselves, because that's just not, you
And they
know,
all knew, all the people around them knew, they recognized issues that were not addressed.
yeah,
There's and it's not like school shooters is an extreme example, but just the way you described the way you grew up, and you could already identify the people around you. And today, compare, you're 29 years old, you're still green under the ears, bro. You can already see it. You're already able to look at what your mindset is and compare it to the people around you that you grew up that did not have that positive masculinity in their life. It's
right,
always night and day. And the fact that a father is there does not mean he's present,
right,
because that is, my father was there until I was 14, but he wasn't there. I had a father, but he wasn't present.
right.
And I've always wondered, I have no proof. There's no way to prove it, but what's worse? And I've pondered that question. Is it worse to have a father that is there but not present, or is it worse to not have a father?
And
And I
that's
don't know
something.
the answer. Like, I don't know the answer. Like, it's philosophy at this point.
Yeah,
But
I was gonna say that's definitely something to cliffhanger, and that's something we get people talking about in the comments.
yeah.
The third one is reduction in risky behaviors. According to National Mentoring Partnership, young adults who have mentors are 55% less likely to use drugs and 45% less likely to use alcohol. An Office of Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention reported stated that youth with positive role models are 53% less likely to skip school and 46 less likely to start using illegal drugs. So pretty good stuff, good information. And this transition well into the next segment, which is the weekly sabbatical. And in this section, we kind of just reflect and reminisce on a few things. And then, of course, I end up with some tips and things that I got for my people. So the first question I have for you is, you've spoken briefly about faith, not just in a religious context, but also as in the belief in oneself and something greater. So how can harnessing the form of faith support young millennial men, and especially in their mental health journey?
Faith is the first step to self-confidence. If you don't first have faith that you can do something, you cannot build self-confidence. Same thing as you cannot build a new relationship, a new meaningful relationship with someone, if you don't first have faith that they are the person they say they are. And how can you ever find purpose if you don't first have faith in the fact that you were put here for a reason?
Right. Yeah, I think that's interesting because most people tend to overlook that for some reason. I don't really
Mhm.
know why, but they
Why
definitely,
they overlook faith?
I think they don't realize the importance of it
No,
for real. I think they really don't see it. But
it's a religious thing. It's
yeah,
because people associate faith with religion as much as it is part of religion, no questions about it. And I am a Christian. Like, I'm not a typical Christian, but I am a
yeah,
Christian.
right.
But at the same time, I was heavily in Buddhism way before I was in Christianity, and you have to have faith.
Yeah,
Faith is everywhere. It's just, to any I challenge anybody out there, instead of using the word faith, start using the word believe, and it replaces it. It's the same thing, but it doesn't have the connotation of a religious term like faith does. But it's the same thing. Faith is more powerful than belief, but at least,
absolutely.
but it changes everything. When you have people that have faith in something greater that knows they are here for a reason, they say faith will move mountains. The lack of faith will build them.
Absolutely. Which goes into this next article I got. It's called Consequences of Idolatry. So now, when we talk about idolatry, we always talk about the negatives effects, mentally, emotionally, a lot of cases, even spiritually. And I'm going to get to that. So it's from the article. It's in Romans 1:21 through 25. Paul describes the consequences of idolatry as follows. But although they knew God, they neither glorified him as God nor gave thanks to him. But their thinking became futile and their foolish hearts were darkened. Although they claimed to be wise, they became fools and exchanged the glory of the immortal God for images made to look like mortal human beings and birds and animals and reptiles. Therefore, God gave them over in their sinful desires of their hearts to sexual impurity for the degrading of their bodies with one another. They exchanged the truth about God for a lie and worshiped and served created things rather than the creator who is forever praised. Let me give my take on that. That's an extreme, not extreme. That's an example of what happened in the Bible. But the main thing is about idolizing the wrong people, and in this case, objects and things that aren't right.